I think there's aspects to both of those which present really great potential for experiences for museum visitors. I think they're very different from each other, and I'm lucky enough at the Science Museum to have an entire department that specializes in new media and technology, and I rely heavily on them. But in my understanding of the two, I think virtual reality has a lot of benefit to visitor experience. For example, in giving them very unique experiences with collection objects. For example, we created a virtual reality experience where all of our visitors can leave the International Space Station and travel back down to Earth in a Soyuz. And that's narrated by Tim Peake, who's a British astronaut. And that kind of unique access to what does the inside of a space capsule actually look like, and what is the sound and the instruction you're hearing from the Space Center on Earth, and what does it feel like when you're hurtling through space. All of that can be recreated through virtual reality, and that's been a really successful example for us. But we had to work with Samsung to develop that, because obviously these new technologies are quite expensive to develop and expensive to maintain, and so partnerships are really important. For augmented reality, that's a whole other story, and I think there's a lot of potential there because it doesn't separate you in your experience with people around you or even the space you're in, because the hardware isn't so narrow. It allows you to continue to have a social experience, and I think that's really exciting, potentially for museums in the future. I think technology really does bring different opportunities. I think it allows us to perhaps take our museum on the road. For visitors who are unable to come into the museum itself, perhaps they can experience a part of our exhibitions or part of our galleries in their home, in their classroom, in a local library. I also think it's quite interesting with augmented reality, the idea that you might be able to take one of the stories we're telling in our galleries and take that out into the world, and suddenly our narrative could come to life in your neighborhood or as you're walking down the street in the city. So I think there's great potential. Where it goes and how the hardware gets developed so that it can withstand many, many users in a day, 7 days a week, is sort of yet to be seen. Absolutely not. I think museums and real physical experiences, tangible experiences, seeing real things, will never be replaced. I think it's an asset, I think it's an add-on, but I don't think it's a threat. I do not think that virtual reality or augmented reality would ever replace a real visit to an actual museum. I think they can work together, but I don't think it's a replacement. The cost for VR and AR are expensive, and some of that is in the development of the software, some of that is in the cost of the hardware and the maintenance of it. I think the Science Museum is particularly interested in seeing where the technology goes, and I think as the Science Museum, it's a part of our job to explore it and use it and provide unique experiences for our visitors. How we go about finding the right partners who can either support us through a financial support or through a hardware and technology support is something that is it's common and ongoing, I would say, in most museums. Some of it comes through partnerships that we create through our corporate sponsor programs. Some of it is through the design teams that we've hired to work on a project, and they bring their own set of contacts, and we're able to reach out into those new networks and grow and develop our sector. And I suppose the other thing is that being the Science Museum, a lot of companies will approach us with ideas. I think museums are a great place to take an idea from the start and really try and develop it together in a collaboration. And I think it's interesting to paint a picture for visitors that this might be a work in progress and that they're actually seeing some of the technology being developed as a part of the front of house story, rather than working on it behind closed doors and just revealing it when it's done. I think inspiring young people is really important to the Science Museum, and allowing them to see the design process or the technical programming process is just as valid as the final experience. I don't think I would name names, but I do know that there have been some interesting projects recently, even in the field of music, where a particular artist had created a VR video, and rather than seeing them perform live, people all over the world in the same instant, watching the same or having the same VR experience, got to witness the world premiere of this new video. And I think those kinds of ideas are really exciting, ways of really bringing vast amounts of people together and having a single shared experience through this new platform, I think is pretty interesting.